Batwing number 27, written by Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti, art by Jason Masters and Scott Collins. So this is a tie-in, along with the next issue, to Gothtopia, which is going on over in Detective Comics. Long and short of the setup is Gotham City is a paradise now, and there's like no crime, but there are a lot of suicides. I wonder why that's happening. So we open up at the Gotham Modern Museum of Art, and it turns out that Batwing, in this alternate universe of Gothtopia, is called Flying Fox. And he's got an orange color scheme now. So he beat up some art thieves and just like, yeah, no, like they were heavy, but they weren't dangerous. They were just art thieves. And like Gotham is totally crime free. So like, why? I don't even really need to be Flying Fox that much. It's kind of a letdown. And as we see, Luke is just walking through Gotham. There's like these random rips in the panels, I guess, that show everything looking awful. And then we even see like some people jumping from buildings and such like that. And he just doesn't seem to even notice. But yeah, he's like, yeah, no, I don't really need to be Flying Fox anymore. So whatever. I guess things are going great. Hey, things are going great between me and my dad. And we get a glimpse over to a football game where they're using Bruce Wayne's private seats. And he's just basically having a beer, watching the game with his dad. And he's just like, oh, yeah, no, I went to Rome in my last arc. And it was great. I made like a ton of money and stuff like that. And they was asking, oh, well, what happened? What about the girlfriend? What about Xena? And she's like, oh, yeah, she's depressed because her dad died. But I'm going to take her out and try to get her mind off of things. And he's like, yeah, I was kind of upset that you didn't follow in my footsteps, son. But now I see the real man you've grown into. I'm proud of you. So at that point, Luke's still walking through Gotham. And by the way, there's a bunch of hot air balloons instead of the blimps, I guess there are supposed to be. Sure. So he gets accosted by a man who basically shakes him by the collar and is like, open your eyes, look around, everything sucks. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm wearing a polo shirt. Everything's great. But then he looks down at his phone and he's like, wait a minute, it's Wednesday. I thought it was Monday. Have I been walking around for 2 days? I've got tons of missed calls and stuff. Something's going on here. Flash sideways. We're now in the Gotham Underground, which seemingly has not been infected by this Gothtopia thing. And we get the full rundown. It is Ratcatcher is being led by Russell. And if you remember Russell, he was a guy who basically went full-on Bane 2 issues ago in the Zero Year tie-in, who swore revenge on Batwing, / more specifically Luke Fox. And Ratcatcher explains, like, yeah, no, someone got all of Gotham high. We think it's Scarecrow. It's a whole Gothtopia thing. Don't worry about it. What do you want to do? And he's like, oh, I've united the 4, like, drug trades of Anubis, the Corpse Core, Speakerheads, and the Darklings, because we're going to make a boatload of money under my new guidance or whatever. And Ratcatcher's basically like, okay, here's my suggestion based off of what the rats have been telling me. Go up to Gotham Overground, kill Scarecrow, stop the entire society is high off some drug thing, and then make a name for yourself in the meantime. And he's like, no, that's not the plan. That's not what we're doing. I've got too much on the underworld to deal with right now. And he specifically says, like, okay, I also want to get revenge on Luke Fox. So Ratcatcher says, well, all right, well, what can I do? And he's like, I know exactly what you can do. So over in the Bat Bunker, Luke is running some blood tests on himself because he realizes something's wrong, when all of a sudden he gets a call from his mom saying that something's going on with his dad at work. And we cut over to Wayne Tower, and he's waving around a gun in a boardroom, complaining at all these people for trying to, like, get ahead in their careers. But, like, sneakily, where he's like, oh, all of you are just trying to, like, throw each other under the bus. Oh, you want to be the new CEO. Well, if you want to be the next CEO, fine. Job position's opening up. And he puts the gun against his head, and at that exact moment, Flying Fox comes in through the window, stops him from pulling the trigger. And he's like, who are you? What are you doing? That suit is property of Wayne Tech. What's going on? And he's like, all right, I got to get my dad out of here. And he gasses him, flies him out the building. So he runs some tests on, again, himself and his dad. He sees that it's Scarecrow. It's some kind of fear toxin, but totally different. And he's like, all right, I've come up with a cure, but, like, it's hard to make, so I can't make too much of it. So he injects himself. He immediately comes down because it's a essentially a hallucinogenic. And he's like, wow, all right, that was awful. Also, why was I calling myself Flying Fox? That, like, gives away my name. That was an awful choice. So then he injects his dad, and Dad's like, oh, hey, you're the new Batwing. And he's like, yeah, totally. Anyway, I'm going to get you home. Here's enough to inoculate your family. Go ahead and give them all the toxin and whatnot. He's like, okay, but how do you know how many people are in my family? And Batwing's like, Batman told me. He knows all about your family. And it's like, oh, okay. But what about my son? You didn't give me enough. You gave me one short. It's almost like you didn't count my son for some reason. And Luke's like, Batman says he doesn't live with you anymore, so I was going to give it to him directly. You know, speed is of the essence here. And he just basically tries to make all these, like, don't worry about it. Don't think about it too much. Look, we are really low on time here. Get home, inoculate your family. So he drops them off, and then turns out that their eldest daughter, I'm blanking on her name, Tam, she didn't come home. And no one knows where she is. But the youngest daughter, who again, cannot remember her name, basically is saying, I know where she is. I hacked into her social media accounts. I know where she is. So at that point, Luke and Lucius get the information. Turns out she had a secret boyfriend who's got an apartment downtown. So they drive up to the place. They go upstairs to the apartment. Doors left wide open. So they creep their way in. And the dude is dead. And there has been a fight. And as we cut to what seems to be a very rundown-looking lab covered in rats, while the Farmer in the Dell is being sung of The Rat Takes the Cheese, we see Ratcatcher has kidnapped Tam and seemingly cured her of Scarecrow's toxin, but is holding her hostage with all of his rats. So, yeah, it's a scene. I like it. I'm kind of impartial on the whole Gothtopia event, mainly because it just feels like whatever, you know? It doesn't... The fact that we immediately get the answer. We immediately find out, like, it's Scarecrow. We know this isn't real. We're not going to pretend this isn't real. I both like that and hate that at the same time because, A, I feel like we've had enough Scarecrow. Like, especially in Detective Comics, and I think the Dark Knight one, like, we've had too much Scarecrow for like a while now. I think that saying, oh, he dosed all of Gotham, like, fine, whatever, do it if you have to, but I would have rathered something else. But no, the fact that it gets revealed so early on, I mean, I kind of like that just because we know it's not real. We know this isn't the status quo. We're not suddenly going to be like, oh yeah, Batman lives in the greatest city on Earth. It's like, no, it's Gotham. It sucks. So I'm happy we just got that out of the way. But it does make it for a weaker event where it's like none of the characters feel like they're even stuck in this world. They just immediately figure it out. And they're like, yeah, all right, fair enough. I guess I'm free now. So it might be a fine tie-in. I'm looking forward to seeing what the next issue is. But honestly, it feels like the whole Gothtopia thing's already over. And we're just moving into whatever the Russell plot is. So yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But overall, it's probably like 7.